Right, welcome back everybody. Right, so we're on the second video of the for the M4 criteria. So this is for the optimizations. Now there's a default email that's already been created for you that you just got to send to the students to show communications for the D4. What you need to do is just get the students to do whatever the email is asking them. Now the key thing about this bit is they have to justify the improvements they have made and how it helps secure the system more. Not just show the step-by-step, they've got to do that, but they've also got to say why they've done it and why it's good to help secure the system. Now what it's asked to do first, it's asked to set up 2 user groups, because we haven't done user groups yet. So if we go back into Active Directory, we need to set up a staff group and a human resources group. So again, we hit the little double-headed person with a star next to their head. We're going to set one up as staff, leave it as security and global, and we're going to set up another one as just HR. Okay, security, global. Okay, so we've got a staff group and a HR group. Now what it wants to do, because it says this I feel will help separate the 2 main areas of the company and help the GDPR to protect the private staff information, because we don't want normal staff accessing the HR file. So what we're going to do is, part of the HR group, we are going to add members. So you double click on it, add members, and we're just going to add the manager for now. That's all we're going to do. So we check the name, it finds the manager. So we've added the manager now to that group, because they're the only ones that can access the HR documentation, other than HR staff, of course. So we go OK. Now in the staff, we want to also add the user 1, which is staff user 1, but we also want to add the manager, because we need to let him see what's going on with the staff as well. So we add both of those, we go apply and go OK. So we've met the first task. We've set up 2 groups and we've added users to those groups. Really good security. Now it wants us to set up 2 new shared folders that are more secure than they were before. So if we go into the C drive again, so it wants us to make one folder. So one folder which is called General Staff Information. General Staff Information. And then another folder which is called HR Restricted. Okay, so they're the 2 files we want to set. Now it says here, can you then make the HR restricted folder only accessible to HR staff, as this will have key information about all staff's private information that should only be accessed by HR staff. So that's wonderful, that's not a problem. So what we need to do is, in the HR restricted, we need to go properties, sharing, share. Now we only want to add the HR group. So we click add and we add the HR group and give them read write access. We go share, we confirm that, taking pictures of course of everything, go done, take a picture, go close. Now the general staff information, we want everyone to have access. So we go security, share, and we want to give the general staff, oh, couldn't find it. Oh no, we just called it staff, didn't we? So we just called it staff, which is that one, so the staff group, and we want the HR group as well, which is both of those. So we go OK. So we want to give both of them read write access, because we want HR to be able to access the general staff documents and staff, but only HR can access the HR restricted. So we share, done, close. So we've shared and made the new folders. Now it's always good practice for the students to show that those configurations have worked. Now to do that, they're going to have to log off and log back on as those users. So if I quickly do that now, because you have to push the permissions through, because they won't push automatic. They will do it after about half an hour, but you won't have time for that. So if we log back on, whoops. So if we log back on as the respective users, so one being a staff user and one being the manager. Get rid of of those. So the one the camera's looking at the moment, that is the manager. So we're going to map the 2 drives on the manager. As it turns on. Because we push more permissions, so it's restarting all the permission systems and bits and pieces. It does take a little bit of time. Now once we started up, what you need to do is again go into the File Explorer at the bottom, click on Network. We want to go back to the server once it's started up. And you'll notice we've got General, Staff and HR Restricted. Now you just want to get kids, take pictures of mapping the 2 drives. Now the manager will be able to map both the drives because they're allowed to. So if you go into Computer now, they've been able to access both the General and the HR Restricted. Now on the normal user's machine, which is this one, if we go into the File Explorer on here, go Network, click on Server. Now we can map the general staff because we're a staff member, so we can do that quite easily and we can have access, but we shouldn't have access to the HR restricted, and it says access denied. So that shows that your security on your system is working correctly. So I can access the general staff information, the company docs, but I can't access the HR restricted. See them along there. Now the last thing we've got to do is, as one of the optimizations on the email, is we need to configure a scheduled system update. So we need to make sure the system is updating on a regular basis, and also make sure that there's antivirus scans every day at 10 PM. So to schedule system updates, we need to go into Control Panel. So once you're in Control Panel, you click on Systems and Security. Then you click on Windows Update. Now in here we can change the settings, which is on the left hand side. Now you can set up when it will do the installations. Now it automatically defaults to schedule at 3 o'clock every morning, but the machines aren't going to be on at 3 in the morning. So what we would suggest, and this is what the kids have got to justify as they are doing it, that we do it, say, at 6 o'clock at night. So it's every day, but at the end of the day, so it's not affecting work processes, because Windows updates, as we all know, cause a lot of system lag and bits and pieces if it's running as you're doing it, and the system could restart. But it's good practice to schedule an update to keep the system from getting all the loopholes and stuff patched as we go along. So take a picture of that, we go OK. You have to set it because you're part of the network, so you've got to give administrator permissions. There we go. So that's that bit done. And now we need to open up Avast and we need to schedule that scan to happen at 10 o'clock. So it says every day, so it even wants you to do it the weekends. Now we're not going to question it, but when the students justify it, they might want to say, well, why are you going to do it the weekend when no one's there? There's no point. But at this moment in time, they haven't really stipulated why we're doing it. We're doing what the client has asked us to do, and it has optimized the security. It's made it better. However, does it really meet the remit of the client? And that's for the kids to justify to get the merit. This also helps boost the distinction as well. If they're trying to go for the D3, if I remember rightly, that helps them to be able to get that. So we click on Scan. We go Scan for viruses. Now there's scan settings on the bottom left, so you click on scan settings. We go on to scheduling. Now you want to schedule this scan. We want it, because it says to do it run every day, so you want it daily. It says it wants to run it at 10 PM. Now this is a 24-hour clock, so 10 PM will be 2200 hours. And we want it every single day. So kids would take a picture, take a picture of that, go OK. They've set a scheduled scan. So that is basically all the practical elements required for the Unit 7 work. Again, just a few things to identify. They must make sure they take pictures of everything as they go along. That's the key thing. And when they do this M4 optimization, that they must make sure that they justify at the end as to why they did it. and why has it improved the security, as well as the step-by-step. And next thing I'm going to go on to is doing the Unit 21 video.